All right, the customer asked me to give a instructional video on the usage of the Jimmy fountain pen. So this is the full-size fountain pen here. I may do a pocket size in the future, but for now this is what I have. The pen comes in 3 sections. You have a base with a magnet in the tail. You have a body that contains your nib and your ink, and you have a cap which includes a magnet in the top and a clip. All right, so this is just a friction fit over the body and a friction fit over the base. When you remove the cap, it will stick to the base so that you can, if you don't want to hold it in your other hand. Although the pen is large enough, that should be pretty comfortable for most hands to use without posting the cap on the back. To insert or change an ink cartridge, the ink cartridge must come in from the base. And you can see I have one in here now. I will not be shipping these with ink already installed. You'll have to install them yourself. So what you can do is you can drop, if the nib is already installed, you can drop the ink in the base, and you can use another ink cartridge to push that ink in until it is seated properly. The seal will puncture and it'll seat on the base of the nib unit. Okay, when it's empty and you want to remove it, best way I've found is to take another ink cartridge and push up until the nib unit is removed from the is pushed out of its friction fit. And when you do that, you can raise the whole nib and cartridge up until you can separate it, and then the cartridge drops out the bottom and the nib is retained out the top. Now when you want to install a new one, the easiest way to do that is to push the cartridge in from the bottom. This one's already punctured, so I'm not going to turn it upside down, but you can turn it upside down until you can pinch it with your fingers, hold it steady, and puncture the cartridge that way, attach it to the nib unit, and then you can push the whole nib unit back in. And then I like to put a fingernail on each side of this and just press down until it seats. Just kind of check it, make sure it's not going anywhere, and that's how you reassemble your pen. If you have the Kaweco mini converter, it will protrude out the back, and that's why we have this piece here to cover that up. And so what you can do with that actually is, it's a little hard to view the mini converter when you're filling. So what I like to do with that is I actually like to remove the nib unit, and you can either, the converter is small enough that you can install the whole thing through the through the mouth here. It's thin enough that you can install the whole thing through here. So if you want to, you can just attach the nib to the converter, fill it with ink, and then put the base on there and just drop the whole nib and converter through the front and seat it the same way, and it's done. Or you can, if you want to fill just the converter and then reinsert it, you can remove the base, grab the tail of the converter and pull it straight out, refill the converter, and then reinstall it that way. So I think that's everything for this pen. If the nib unit is stuck and you're trying to push it out, only push on it with a cartridge or a converter, so that you don't damage the nipple on the bottom of the nib unit. If you damage that nipple on the bottom of the nib unit, you'll have to buy a new nib unit to allow your pen to continue to take ink. There's, you know, that's the best way of doing it, is just to have the ink bottle installed and push it out that way, so you don't damage your nib unit. All right, I hope this was instructional. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.